Hello students, today I am here to teach you chapter 4 in your textbook that's called Surface Area of Solids. So this is a very important lesson because you are getting one question worth 10 marks in your O-level exam. So we'll first take what are the solid shapes we have to consider in this chapter. So we'll take the first solid figure is a cube. So what's a cube? You get squares in all sides. So here how can we draw a cube? So we can first draw a square with equal sides and then again somewhere here you can draw another square and then connect that. It's really easy to draw the cube. So here if we take one side is L, you get a square with all sides are equal, so the length is L. So how can we find out the surface area of the cube? So if A is surface area, so A equals, what's the area of a square? We know length times length. So here we'll multiply length times length. And how many sides are there in a cube? We know there are 6 sides. So here we multiplied this by 6 to get the total surface area of a cube. So what's the formula? When you simplify, you get 6L squared. So here memorize this formula because you are not getting a formula to find out the surface area of a cube. So take one side and take the area of a square multiplied by 6. Now we'll see how we can apply the area formula in examples. We'll take this example. If the length of one side of a cube is 8 centimeters, find the surface area of the cube. So here, shall we sketch the diagram? How we draw? Just draw a square, another square here and then connect it. So here it says one side is 8 centimeters. So how can we apply the formula? So formula is A equals 6L squared. We know one length is 8 centimeters. So 6 times 8 times 8. What's that? 6 times 8, 48. 48 times 8. 8 times 8, 64. 6 remaining. 8 times 4, 32. 32 plus 6, 38. So 384. What's the unit? This is given in centimeter and this is about area. So we use square centimeters. Now we'll take another one. If surface area of a cube is given, now we don't know the length of one side. The surface area is given 726 square centimeters. Find the length of a side of the cube. So here we know if it's a cube with one side L, we know the surface area is 6L squared. You can use the formula. A is given 726. You can plug it here. And how can we find out L squared? L squared is equal to 726 divided by 6. So what's that? Divide by 6. 6 times 1, 6. For 12, that's 2 and 1. 121. So to find out L, what you do? You take the square root of 121. So when you take square root, you get plus or minus value. So what's that? Square root of 121 is 11. So you get plus or minus 11, but this is about a length. So that should be a positive value. So here, what's the length of one side? L equals 11 centimeters. Now we'll take the next shape, cuboid. What's the difference between a cuboid and a cube? In a cube, you get a square. In cuboid, you get a rectangle. So here we'll try to draw this again. We can draw a rectangle first. Another rectangle somewhere there. And connect. Now in a cuboid, what are the lengths that we need to know? We know the longest side we call length, or we can write L for that. So we call this one is breadth. So we take B. Then what about the other side we need? We need the height. So this is the height. We can take this one as H. So we need to find out the surface area of this cuboid. So here in this, how many sides you get? Here also you get 6 sides and you get 3 different types of rectangles. What are the rectangles you are getting? You are getting this face, length with height. What about this side? Breadth with height. And the below surface, you get length with breadth. So it's easy when you are writing like this. So write down L, H and B. And we'll connect like this, L and H. So here, when you take the surface area of a cuboid, you can take L, H. That means the L times H, this area. How many rectangles are there like this? You get 2 sides. So here, you need to multiply this by 2. Then the next side, H and B. You can draw a line like this and write H and B. So that's this surface. Here you get 2 surfaces like this. So 2HB. What about the other one? BL or LB. LB is the lower surface. So there also you get this one and the above surface. You need to multiply this by 2. 2LB. When you take 2 out, what's the formula you are getting? 2 times LH plus HB plus LB. So you can use this formula to find out the surface area of a cuboid. So remember this method. You draw a triangle like this and then multiply all sides. LH, HB, BL. And then you multiply by 2. Now we'll see how we can apply this formula in several examples. We'll take this one. Find the surface area of the cuboid. If length is given 12, breadth is given 10 centimeters and height is given 8 centimeters. So here we'll try to sketch the diagram. So that means a rectangle and another rectangle you can draw and then connect. So when you are taking measurements, so length is given 12. So we'll take, this is the length. And breadth we'll take this side 10 centimeters and height is this one. Height is 8 centimeters. So this is the cuboid given. So you are asked to find out the surface area. So you can use A equals, what's the formula? 2 times. So use this one, LHB. LH. L is 12. H is 8. HB. HB means H is 8, breadth is 10. Then LB. L is length, that's 12. And B is breadth, 10. So when you multiply, what you get? 2 times 12 times 8, 96. 8 times 10, 80. 12 times 10, 120. So when you add these three together, what you get? 2 times 6 here, 2 plus 8, 10, 10 plus 9, 19, 1 remaining, and this one becomes 2. So 2 times 296, what you get? 2 times 6, 12, 1 remaining, 2 times 9, 18, plus 1, 19, 1 remaining, 2 times 2, 4, 4 plus 1, 5. 592 square centimeters. Now we'll take the next one. Next one, the surface area of the cuboid is given and you are asked to find out the height of the cuboid. So we'll try to sketch the diagram. Here length is given 12 centimeters, so that's L. And breadth is given 10, that's B. And you don't know the height. And the total surface area is given 592. So how can we find out? We can use the formula. What's A? 2 times HL, HB, LB. So here, think about this triangle. It's really easy to memorize that. Then you substitute the values. Area is given 592. 2 times H. H we don't know. L is 12. H we don't know. B is 10. And L is 12 and B is 10. Now find out the value here inside. You get 2. 12H and 10H becomes 22H. Plus 12 times 10, 120. So that's equal to 592. So what we can do? First we can divide this by 2. 2 times 2, 4. 1 remaining for 19. 2 times 9, 18. 1 remaining. 2 times 6, 12. So you are getting 296 is equal to 22H plus 120. So we have to take 120 to the other side. You get, when you subtract, what you get? 296 subtract 120, you get 6 and then 7 and 1. So that's equal to 22H. So how can we find H? 176 divided by 22. So here you can divide by 2. So 11 times 8 is 88. So here, what's the height of the cuboid? 8 centimeters. So if you can remember the formula, it's easy to find the surface area or unknown lengths. Now we'll take the next shape as pyramid. So what is a pyramid means? Pyramid is different to prism that we discussed last year. So here, pyramid, you can get base as different shapes. You can get square, you can get any triangular base pyramid, or you can get any polygon. So I can draw 5-sided shape and then draw something like this. This is also pyramid. So here when you take pyramids, you get this point. What you call this point? That means all faces connect with that point. So we call that one is apex. And here you get opposite to the apex, you get a shape here that's called the base of the pyramid. This is called the base of the pyramid. So here base is a square, in this one base is a triangle, this is a pentagon. So you can get base as different polygons. But in this lesson we are talking about base is a square. So we are talking about square based pyramids. And here also you will see another name, right pyramid. So what is right pyramid? So we say in the right pyramid the height of the pyramid is perpendicular to the base. So that's why we are only discussing right pyramids with square based. So how can we draw something like that? So we'll try to draw a right pyramid with square based. Okay, so what we have to do, we can draw a square first. So here you can't draw a square this like this because this is 3D. So here we'll draw a square like this, slant one, and then you take any point above and then connect this one with all these sides. So here you get the pyramid like that. So here all sides are equal. Then we need to know certain lengths. So if you take the square base, we have to take length as one letter. We'll take that one is A. A is the length of a square, length of a square. So that means in the base. And then we need to know the height, perpendicular height to this one. So how can we draw the perpendicular height? So here top to here to this surface. So here when you draw that, that should pass through this two diagonal points. So here if you take the midpoint of that, so this is perpendicular to the surface. So we take this one as H. So H we call the perpendicular height of the pyramid. Then we need to know another side. Here what you call this side. This is the slant length of a pyramid. And what about this one? When you take one face as a triangle, the perpendicular height is there. So here we can't draw it with the perpendicular line. I'll draw like this. So the perpendicular height somewhere here. So this is that height. So what's the letter we can take? We can take that one as L. I'll take this one as L. So that's the perpendicular height of a triangular face. So we need L, perpendicular height of a triangular face. Then I told you we need the slant. Sometimes you need the slant length as well. So slant length we can take as M. Slant length of a pyramid. And those are the lengths that you need to know. So what are the lengths you need to know? You need to know the base length. We'll take A, and the perpendicular height of the pyramid we take as H, and then L. L is the perpendicular height of the triangular face, and M. M we can take the slant length of a pyramid. We'll try to figure out now how we can find out the surface area of square-based pyramids. Only we discussed right pyramid with square base. Now we'll try to draw the pyramid. Here, I'll draw it here. You draw a square like this and take a point somewhere there and connect. So we'll take, A is this side now. We'll take the perpendicular height. When you take perpendicular height here, and we'll connect this one. So what is this length then? This length is the perpendicular to the triangular face. So we took L as this distance. So here, what is this one? We know the full length of one side is A. So this becomes A over 2. And here, this is perpendicular to the base. So we need to know this one to find out a relationship. And also, if you take the triangle separately, how can we draw the triangle? This is the perpendicular height we took as L. And here also the side is A. So this is A over 2. A over 2. So what is this one? This one is the slant length, or we call it slant edge. So we can take as M. And here if you open this pyramid, what's the net of the pyramid you are getting? You are getting a square and then 4 triangles like this. So when you close it, this way when you close it and this way when you close it, you get the pyramid. So here this side is A, and I can mark all these sides again. This is perpendicular length we took as L, and this is M, slant edge, and height. It's difficult to mark here because you need to have a closed one to mark the perpendicular height. Now we'll see how we can find out the surface area. So if you take surface area, total surface area is A. How many sides are there? We get the square base and 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 triangles. So all triangles are equal. So here, because this is a square, so because of that you can find out one triangle, area of one triangle, and multiply it by 4. So here first we'll find out the area of the base. What is area of base? It's a square with length A. A times A. Then we'll find out area of one triangle and multiply by 4. So when you take this one, what's the area of a triangle? Half times base times perpendicular height. So here we can say half times, first we'll write area of one triangle and then multiply by 4. So what's the formula? We can write down half. What's the base length? Base length is A. And what's the perpendicular height to the triangle? That's L into 4. When you simplify, what you get? This 2 and this 4 get cancelled out. You get 2AL. So surface area of the pyramid becomes A squared plus 2AL. So what are the measurements you need to know to get the surface area? Base length and perpendicular height of the triangle. So try to memorize this formula. Now we'll see, sometimes you need different lengths to find out other lengths. Now when you take this one, we know this is a right angle triangle. So what's the relationship between the perpendicular height of the pyramid and the perpendicular height of the triangle? We can form an equation using Pythagoras theorem. I can write down L squared is equal to H squared plus A over 2 whole thing squared. So that's using Pythagoras. So if you want to find out one length, you can use this one. Again, how can we write down this one? If you want the slant length, M is the slant edge. So M squared is equal to, according to this triangle, L squared plus A over 2 squared. So here you can use this formula or this formula or this formula to find out any length or surface area. Now we'll see how we can apply these formulae. So there are several stages. First case, A and L given. What is A? We took as base length of the square and L is the perpendicular height of the triangular face. So here we'll try to draw this. So when you draw the pyramid, in this case it's given this length. This length is given 12 centimeters. So this is 12 centimeters given. And we'll take A. Then perpendicular height of the triangular face. That means this one given. That's L equals 20 given. So here how we can find out the surface area of the square base pyramid. So we can use the formula for surface area. So what's the formula? We find the base area of the square. That means 12 times 12, A squared plus 4 times the area of the triangle. Or if you can remember the formula, what's the formula we got? A equals A squared plus 2AL. If you can remember, you can straight away use the formula. If you can't remember, you have to separately find out area of one triangle and then multiply by 4. So we'll use this formula straight away without multiplying this by 4. I can use 2A. A is 12, L is 20. When you multiply, what you get? 12 times 12, 144. Then I can multiply these two. 2 times 12, 24, and again I have to multiply by 2. So what's the answer? 144 plus 24 times 2 is 48, and put a 0. So when you add these two together, you get 4, 8 plus 4, 12, 1 remaining, 5 plus 1, 6. So 625 square centimeters is the surface area of this pyramid. That's case number 1. Case number 1, when base length and the perpendicular height of the triangle is given, this is how we can find out the surface area. Now we'll take the second case. So in this case, A and H given. So what is A? A is the length of the base and H is the perpendicular height of the pyramid. So we'll try to draw that. So here, if this is the pyramid, A is given, A is here, and H is the perpendicular height, H. So I'll take another color and you can see it clearly. This is H and this is this perpendicular height of the triangular face. So here in this example, what is height? Height is 24. So this is given 24 centimeters. So what's the base length? Base length is 14. So these two are given and you are asked to find the perpendicular height of a triangular face. So what's the letter we took before? That's L. We need to find out L. Find the surface area of the pyramid. That means we need to find out capital A. Now we'll look at this diagram. When you look at this diagram, this is H, this is A over 2, half of A. And what about this one? This is L. So we need to find out the length of the perpendicular height of the triangular face. So we'll try to use the formula. When you use Pythagoras theorem, you can write down H squared plus A over 2 squared, because this is half of A, is equal to L squared. So what is H squared? 24 squared. Then A over 2 means 14 divided by 2, you get 7. 7 squared is L squared. Now try to find out this side. 7 squared is 49. What is 24 times 24? Can you remember? So you get 576. So that's equal to L squared. Then add it together. 9 plus 6, 15. 1 remaining. 8 plus 4, 12. 1 remaining. 625 is L squared. Can you remember square root of 625? Square root of 625 is equal to 25. Plus or minus 25, but these are lengths. So you take only positive values. So what's the perpendicular length? Perpendicular height of a triangular face? 25 centimeters. Now they are asking find the surface area of the pyramid. We know what's the formula for surface area. If you can remember, you can straight away apply the formula. A squared, that means the area of the base, plus 2AL. Now try to plug these values. We know A is 14, 14 squared plus 2 times 14 times L. L we found as 25. Now what's 14 squared? 14 times 14 is 196. How can we find this one? Here I want to split 14 to 2 times 7. Here 2 times 7 times 25. Why I did that? It's a 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 25 is 100. 100 times 7, 700. Easily you can multiply and get the value. So 196 plus 700. What's the total? You get 698. 896 square centimeters for the surface area of this pyramid. Now we'll take the third case. In third case, H and L given. So what is H? H we took as the perpendicular height of the pyramid and L is the perpendicular height of the triangular face. So if both are given, how can we find out the other lengths? Now we'll try to draw it. So here, this is a pyramid, square base pyramid. And we don't know the base length now, but we know the perpendicular height. So that's H. Perpendicular height H is known, and what's the other one we know? This L. L is the perpendicular to the triangular face. So L and H given. So in this example, perpendicular height of the pyramid is 16. So H is 16 given and perpendicular height of the triangle is 20. So L is 20 centimeters. Now you are asked to find out the length of the base or one side of the base. So here you can look at the triangle there. So in this triangle, we know the perpendicular height 16. And what is this one? This length is half of A. I can write X or something now and then later I can find out A using that. What about this side? This side is given 20. So we can use Pythagoras theorem to find out the length of one side. So this is A. Now we'll use that. So according to Pythagoras theorem, 20 squared is equal to 16 squared plus x squared. So what is x squared? 20 squared minus 16 squared. So you can either use difference between two square terms or just normal multiplication and find out the x value. So here 20 squared is 400. What is 16 times 16? 16 times 16? 10 and 6 you can write down. 6 times 6, 36. 3 remaining. 6 times 1, 6 plus 3, 9. So you get 256. So when you subtract 400 minus 256, what you get? 144. So 144 is x squared. So what is x? Square root of 144. We know that that's 12. So here this length is 12. So what's that one? That is A over 2. So A over 2, half of the length A, we know that that's 12. So what is A then? You multiply it by 2. 2 times 12, you get 24 centimeters for the first part. So that's the length of one side. Now we need to find out the surface area. So we know A and L. Straight away you can apply the formula for the surface area. So what is the surface area? A squared plus 2AL. A squared means 24 times 24. 24 squared plus 2 times 24 times L. What is L given? 20. Now we'll simplify this. What is 24 squared? We found out 576 before. So 576, and here how can we multiply this? Here I can write 24 as 2 times 12, and this 2 and this 2. 2 times 2, 4. 4 times, no, you can't get 100 there. So you can just multiply by 4. 24 times 2 times 2, 4. So 24 times 4, what you get? 4 times 4, 16, 1 remaining, 4 times 2, 8, 8 plus 1, 9. So you get 9, 6 and there's a 0, 960. So add these two together, you get 6 here, 6 plus 6, 7, 13, 1 remaining, 10 plus 5, 15. So 1536. What's the unit? Square centimeters. Now we'll look at the other case. In fourth case, A and capital A given. What is A? Base length. And what is capital A? Surface area is given. So you are asked to find out the base area, perpendicular height of the triangle and the slant length or slant edge. So we'll try to draw this. So here when you draw a pyramid, what's given? A. This is given. This length is given A. And capital A given. Those are the two things. So what's A here? Base length is 30 centimeters. So this is 30 centimeters given, and the surface area is 2100. Now we'll try to find out the base area. So to find out base area, you just need to square A value. So we can easily find out the first part. So what's the first part? It says base area. So base area is equal to A times A. 30 times 30. So what is 30 times 30? 3 times 3, 9. And then you put 2 zeros. So this is square centimeters. What's the second part? It says perpendicular height of the triangle. So we need to find out this length. So L. Surface area is given. So we can use that formula to find out L. So we know surface area is A squared plus 2AL. Use that formula. Surface area is given 2100. A squared we found. That's the base area, 900. Plus 2 times A. A is 30 and L is the unknown value. So solve this equation and find out L. So here you get, when you take 900 to this side, what you get? 0, 0, 1200. And here 2 times 30 is 60. So 60L is 1200. So what is L? 1200 divided by 60. 1 0 get cancelled out. 6 times 2. So you get 20 centimeters for the perpendicular height of the triangular face. Now what's the last one? Last part, it says find the slant length. Slant length is the M value. So here, what's the letter we use for slant length or slant edge? We used M. How can we find out M? We know this length and we know this side. So you can use again Pythagoras theorem. This is, we'll take this one as M. This is the L value. So we found L is 20. And what about this one? This is half of the base length. 30 divided by 2, This is 15. So you have to find out the value of m. So again, Pythagoras theorem. So we'll use Pythagoras theorem for that. M squared is equal to 20 squared plus 15 squared. 20 squared is 400. What is 15 squared? 225. When you add these two together, you get 625. When you take the square root of 625, you get 25. So what's the slant length or slant edge of the pyramid? 25 centimeters. Now we'll look at example 1 in your textbook. That's the base length of a square base right pyramid is 10 centimeters and the perpendicular height of a triangular face is 15 centimeters. Find the total surface area of the pyramid. So we'll try to sketch the diagram. It says this is a right pyramid with square base. And then it's the base length, this is 10 given, and the perpendicular height of a triangular face. So that means, what's the letter we used? L. So L is given 15 centimeters here. What's the letter we use for base length? A. So you are asked to find out the total surface area. So we know A and L. So this is case 1. So straight away you can use the formula. So what's total surface area? A squared plus 2AL. So A squared, 10 times 10, 10 squared, 2 times 10 times 15. So what's the answer? 10 squared is 100, 2 times 15 is 30, 30 times 10, 300. You get surface area is 400 square centimeters. Now we look at question number 2. Example 2. Shown in the figure is a square base right pyramid of perpendicular height 8 centimeter. So this is the perpendicular height of the pyramid is given 8 centimeters and the base length is 12. Find the perpendicular height of a triangular face. So what's the letter we need to find? We need to find L. So how can we do that? We can see according to the right angle triangle, we can use Pythagoras theorem. So L squared is equal to 8 squared plus, what's this distance? Full thing is 12, half of it. 12 divided by 6, 12 divided by 2, you get 6. So 6 squared. 8 squared is 64. 6 squared is 36. You get 100. So what is L? Square root of 100. You get plus or minus, but we take only the positive value. Square root of 100 is 10 centimeters. So first part is 10 centimeters. Second part, the area of a triangular face. So we need to find out the area of a triangular face. So what's the formula for area of a triangle? Half times base times height. So area of the triangle, you can use half base length. Base length is 12 and the perpendicular height is L for that. L we found out, that's 10. When you multiply these two, you get 6 times 10, 60. This is area, so 60 square centimeters. Now what's the third part? The total surface area of the pyramid. So total surface area of the pyramid is, what's the formula? You can either use the triangle area multiplied by 4 and the base area, or if you can remember the formula, a squared plus 2al. So we'll use this answer, area of the triangle. You know base area is 12 times 12. And area of one triangle is 60. So 60 times 4, because there are 4 triangles in the pyramid. So 12 squared is 144. 60 times 4, 240. When you add these two together, you get 384 square centimeters. So we'll try the other method also. If you are doing other method, if you can remember area formula, a squared plus 2al. A squared is 12 squared plus 2 times a is 12, L we found out 10. So when you use that formula, 144 plus 2 times 12, 24, 24 times 10, 240. So when you add these two together, what you get? 384. Now we'll look at exercise 4.1 in your textbook. It says the base length of a square base right pyramid is 20 centimeters. So this is marked already. This is 20. And the perpendicular height of a triangular face is 15. So that's L. Find the total surface area of the pyramid. So here we know A, we know L. You are asked to find out A. What's the formula? Straight away you can use the formula. A squared plus 2AL. A is 20. So 20 squared plus 2 times 20 plus L. L is 15. Now find out the answer. 20 squared is 400. Plus, how can we do this one? 2 times 20, 40. 40 times 15. So 15 multiplied by 4 and put a 0. So 600. So 600 plus 400, you get 1000. So the area, surface area of this pyramid is 1000 square centimeters. We'll take the second question. In a square base right pyramid, the length of side of square base is 8 centimeters. So that means A. A is given 8 centimeters. And the perpendicular height of a triangular face is 20. That's L. This length. What is the surface area of the pyramid? So again, same thing. A is given, L is given. You can use the formula. So straight away you can use the formula. A equals A squared plus 2AL. A squared is 8 times 8 or 8 squared. 2 times 8 times L. Multiply. 8 squared is 64. Then you can multiply 8 times 2, 16. 16 times 2, 32. And then a 0. So when you add these two together, you get 384 square centimeters. Now we'll take the third one. In the third one, it says the length of the slant edge of a square base right pyramid is 5. So what's the letter we used before? M. Then the length of side of base is given 6. A is 6. Find the total surface area of the pyramid. Now you can't apply the formula because we don't know the length L. L is the perpendicular height of the triangular face. So we can use the small triangle and first find L, and then you can apply the formula. So if you take this triangle separately, we know this is L, and what is this length? Half of 6. You get 3, and this is given 5. So first we can find L and then use the surface area formula. Use Pythagoras. 5 squared is equal to L squared plus 3 squared. So L squared becomes 5 squared minus 3 squared. 5 squared is 25, 3 squared 9. 25 minus 9, you get 16. What's the square root of 16? So L equals 4 centimeters. Now we found out the perpendicular height of the triangular face is 4 centimeters. After you get L, you can straight away use the formula to find out the surface area. A squared plus 2AL. So A squared, what's the length? 6. 6 squared plus 2 times 6 times 4. So what's the final answer? 6 squared is 36. You get 2 times 6, 12. 12 times 4, you get 48. When you add these two together, 8 plus 6, 4, 1 remaining, 4 plus 4, 8. 84 square centimeters for the surface area of this pyramid. Now we'll look at question number 4. In question number 4, it says if the length of side of the square base of a right pyramid is 20. So that means the length of this one side is 20 centimeters. What's the letter we used? A. A is 20. And the perpendicular height is 12. So here perpendicular height means the perpendicular height of the pyramid. That's H. I can mark this height is H. H is given 12 centimeters. And you are asked to find the total surface area of the pyramid. Now here we need to find out L. L to find out the surface area. How can we find out L? We know the relationship between H, A and L. We can use that. So L squared is equal to H squared plus A over 2 squared. So that means H is 12, 12 squared plus A is 20, 20 divided by 2, 10, 10 squared. So when you simplify this, 12 squared is 144, 10 squared is 100. So when you add these two together, you get 244. Now we need to find out L. So here, when you take L, this becomes square root of 244. We know that 244 is not a perfect square. So what's the method we have to find? We have to use to find out the square root. We have to use division method and see what's the value for square root of 244. So we'll do that here. So 244. How we use the division method? Starting from right hand side, you pair up the numbers and then start to divide. So here I can take 1 and 1. 1 times 1, 1. 1 remaining. Then I have to take 144. So 144 you are getting, and here first thing you need to multiply this by 2. You get 20 something to get 144. So when you put 2, 22 times 2. But when you put 7, try 7 and see. 27 times 7. It's more than 144. So we'll take 6 also more than. So 5. 5 times 25. So what is 5 times 25? 125. So what's the remaining part? 9 and 1. 19 remaining. Now you have to take another pair of zeros. So here we'll put a decimal point. And then what's the next step? 15 multiplied by 2, you get 30. So now we need to see 300 something to get 1900. So what's the value? When you put 6, you are getting the answer. So 6 times 306. So 6 times 6, 36. 6 times 3, 18. 1836. So here roughly what's the square root value of 244? You get 15.6. Then how can we find out the total surface area? You can use the formula. So what's the surface area? A squared plus 2AL. A squared is 20 times 20, 20 squared, 2 times 20 times 15.6. So what's the answer? 20 squared is 400. How can we easily multiply this? Here 20 times 5 is 100. Can we get 100 here? No. So here we need to multiply this by 40 times 15.6. So 156 multiplied by 4. 4 times 6, 24. 2 remaining. 4 times 5, 20. 20 plus 2, 22. 2 remaining. 4 times 1, 4. 4 plus 2, 6. So you get 624, and this 0 and this decimal place get cancelled out. So you get 624. So when you add these two together, what you get? 4 here, 2 and 10. 1024 square centimeters for the area of the pyramid. Now we'll take fifth question. It's given the base length is 16 centimeters and the perpendicular height is 6. So what is perpendicular height means? H. This height is given 16. No, 6 is the perpendicular height. This is 6. So 16 is the base length. Find the perpendicular height of the triangular face. That means we need to find out L. The total surface area, that means capital A. Okay, so we'll draw the triangle you are getting. We know H is 6 and this side is half of A. So 16 divided by 2, you get 8. So here L is this side. First you can find out L, that's the perpendicular height of the triangular face, and then you can apply the formula for the surface area. So here use Pythagoras theorem. L squared is 6 squared plus 8 squared. 6 squared is 36. 8 squared 64. 36 plus 64 you get 100. Square root of 100 you get 10. This is plus or minus, but we take only positive value. So you get plus 10. That's the perpendicular height of a triangular face. Now, what's the next part? The total surface area of the pyramid. So that's A. What's the formula? A squared plus 2AL. So A squared, what's the length? 16. 16 times 16 plus 2 times 16 times 10. Now what is 16 times 16? You can multiply and see. You get 256. What's this one? 2 times 16, 32. 32 times 10, 320. So when you add these two together, you get 576 square centimeters for the surface area of this pyramid. Now we'll take question number 6. It says find the total surface area of a square base right pyramid of the length of slant edge is 13 and the side length of the base equal to 10. So here when you draw the pyramid, what's given? A is given, base length is given 10 centimeters and slant edge. Slant edge is, what's the letter we used? M. M is given 13 centimeters. So you are asked to find out the surface area. To find out the surface area, we need to find out L. L is the perpendicular height of the triangle. So that means this length. Now again, when you take this triangle, we need to find out L. This is half of A, that's 5. This is 13 given. So first find L and then you can use the formula. So use Pythagoras theorem. 13 squared is equal to L squared plus 5 squared. So L squared is 13 squared minus 5 squared. What is 13 times 13? 169. 5 times 5, 25. When you subtract these two, what you get? 144. So what is 144? Is the square term of 12. So when you take square root of 144, you get 12 centimeters. So 12 centimeters is the perpendicular height of the triangular face. So how can we find out the surface area? Use the formula A squared plus 2AL. A squared is 10 times 10, 2 times 10 times L. L we found out 12. So what's the answer? 100 plus 2 times 12 is 24 times 10, 240. So 240 plus 100 is 340 square centimeters. Now we'll take question number 7. In this question it says the surface area of a square base pyramid is 2400. So capital A is given 2400. If the length of a side of the base is 30, so what is the letter we use for base length? A. A is 30 centimeters. When you draw the pyramid, in the first part it says find the perpendicular distance from the apex. So this is the apex to the side of the base. What's that? So they are asking to find out L. And the second part it says the height of the pyramid. That means H. So here we need to find H, here we need to find L. What's given? Surface area is given. So we can use that formula to find out the L value. So what's area? A squared plus 2AL. A squared is 30 squared plus 2 times 30 times L. And it's given 2400. Now try to find out L. 30 squared is 900. 2 times 30 60. 60L is equal to 2400. When you take it to the other side, 60L is equal to, subtract these two, 2400 minus 900, you get 1500. So what is L? L is 1500 divided by 60. You get 6 times 2, 12. 3 remaining, 6 times 5. So 25 centimeters is the perpendicular distance from the apex to a side of the base. Then we asked to find out in second part the height of the pyramid. So the height is this one, h. We found L and we know the length 30. So again you can use Pythagoras theorem to find out h. So use Pythagoras theorem. L squared 25 squared is equal to h squared plus, what's the distance there? 30 divided by 2, 15. So 15 squared. So solve for h. H squared is 25 squared minus 15 squared. What's the answer? So 25 squared is 625. 15 squared is 225. When you subtract, you get 400. So what's the square root of 400? So square root of 400 is 20 centimeters. So what's the perpendicular height of the pyramid? That's 20 centimeters. We'll take question number 8. The area of the fabric that is used to make a tent in the shape of a square-based right pyramid is 80 square meters. Find the height of the tent if the fabric is not used for the base of the tent and the length of a side of a base is 8 meters. This should be in meters, because otherwise 8 centimeter is this much. Okay, so here what's given? It's given A but without the base area. So they have not used materials for the base area. And also they have given A. A is 8 meters. So we'll sketch the diagram. When you sketch the diagram, A is 8 meters given and the area for the 4 triangles is given 80 because the base is not given. So you are asked to find out the height of the tent. So if the height is h, perpendicular height is h, you need to find out h. Now look at the question carefully. We need to first find out this perpendicular height of the triangular face. That's L. If we can find out L first, then you can use the Pythagoras theorem and find out h. So we'll use this formula, area formula, to find out L. L is the perpendicular height of the triangular face. Can we use A squared? No, because they have not used materials for the base area. So we can straight away use the other part. 2AL is given 80. 2 times A. A is 8 and L. When you simplify, what you get? 80 equals 16L. L equals 80 divided by 16. You get 5. 5 meters for the L value. L is the perpendicular height of a triangular face. After you get this L value, we know this is 5 meters and this is, what is this length? 4 meters, half of 8. And you are asked to find out the perpendicular height of the tent. So we can use Pythagoras theorem again. So according to Pythagoras theorem, 5 squared is equal to h squared plus 4 squared. Then take 4 squared to this side. 5 squared minus 4 squared is h squared. Then h squared is equal to 5 squared is 25. 4 squared is 16. 25 minus 16, you get 9. Square root of 9. What you get? 3. So what's the height of the tent? 3 meters. Now we'll look at question number 9. It says the height of a tent in the shape of a square base right pyramid is 4 meters. So we'll try to sketch it. When you take the square base pyramid, the height is given. This height, I'll take another color to show this is height is given 4 meters. And the perpendicular height of the triangular face, that means L. L is given 5 meters. If both the roof and the base of the tent is to be made from fabric, how much material is required? So in this case, you have given H and L and you are asked to find out the total surface area. So here, first we can find out the base length. How can we find out? We can use Pythagoras theorem to find out base length. So if this is A, this should be A over 2. So I'll put X for this length and use Pythagoras theorem. 4 squared plus X squared is equal to 5 squared. So what is X squared? 5 squared minus 4 squared. So 5 squared is 25 minus 16, you get 9. When you take square root of 9, that's 3. So 3 meters for this part. So what is the base length now? Base length is 2 times 3. So you get 6 meters for the base length. Now we know A and L. You can find out the total surface area. What's the formula? A squared plus 2AL. A is now 6. 6 squared plus 2 times 6 times L. L is 5. So 6 squared is 36. 5 times 2, 10. 10 times 6, 60. So what's the total surface area? You get 96 square meters. So the question asks how much material is required. So same as the surface area of this pyramid. So here answer is material required is also same answer. That's equal to 96 square meters. We'll take question number 10. It says it is required to construct a tent in the shape of a square base pyramid of base length 16. Now in this tent, base length is given. That's A. And the height. Height means the perpendicular height of the pyramid. Here to here. H is given. 6 meters. Find the fabric needed to construct the tent, also covering the base. So that means they are asking the full surface area. So to find out that, we need to find out L first. How can we use that? Use Pythagoras theorem and find L and then use the formula for area. So we'll do that. Pythagoras theorem, L squared is H squared plus A over 2 squared, half of A. 6 squared for H squared, and then 16 is full length. 16 divided by 2, 8. So 8 squared. So 6 squared is 36 plus 64. You get 100. Square root of 100 is 10 meters. So here length L is 10 meters. Here this is also given in meters. So how can we find out the surface area? Surface area is equal to A squared plus 2AL. A is 16. 2 times A is 16 again. L we found, that's 10. Now find out this one. 16 times 16. What's 16 times 16? 200. 56. Then this one, 2 times 16 is 32. 32 times 10, 320. When you add these two together, you get 576 square meters of material to construct this tent. Now we'll look at the next solid shape, that's called cone. So do you know about a cone? Here when you draw a cone, you get a circle as the base. So this is a circular base. And we'll take this length is the radius of the circular base. And here, what is this point we call? Apex. The perpendicular distance from apex to this circular base is the height, perpendicular height of the cone. We can take as h. So we'll take the perpendicular height as h and the radius as r. And what is this one? We call the slant height. So we can take, this is the slant height as L. We'll take L as the slant height. So when you take a cone, what are the basic shapes you are getting? You get a circle and around that. So we call this is the curved surface. So here this side is the curved surface of a cone. Curved surface. So here if you want to find out the surface area of a cone, what are the things we need to know? We need to take the area of the circle. So base area plus the curved surface area. So here base area. So base area is a circle. So you get pi r squared plus here curved surface area. So mathematicians found that's equal to pi r L. Here we are not going to prove that, but you have to memorize this one. So here what's the total surface area of a cone? Pi r squared plus pi r L. What is L? L is the slant height. What is R? R is the radius of the circular base. And pi we can take as 22/7. So if you know the formula, you can find out the surface area of a cone. Now we'll look at example 1 in your textbook. So you have given a cone. Here 12 is the slant length or slant height, and what's the other one? Radius is given 7. So you are asked to find out the total surface area of the cone. So what's the formula to find out the surface area of the cone? You need to find out the base area, that's pi r squared plus pi r L. So substitute the values. Pi we can take as 22/7, r as 7 plus pi again 22/7, r is 7 and L is given 12. So simplify this. You can straight away cut this 7 to this 7. Then 22 times 7. 7 times 2, 14. 1 remaining. And this is 554 plus. 7, 7 get cancelled out. 22 into 12. So 22 into 12 we can find out. You get 264. So 264 plus 154, what you get? 8. 6 plus 5, 11. 1 remaining. 2 plus 2, 4. So 418 square centimeters for the surface area of this cone. Now we'll take the example number 2. It says circumference of the base of a right circular cone is 88 and its slant height is 15. So here that means when you draw the diagram, slant height is 15. So this is given 15. L is given 15. And also circumference of the circular part. This base part is given 88. If the radius is r, how can we find out the circumference? What's the formula for the circumference of a circle? We know that's 2 pi r. If the radius is r, that's 2 pi r. So here we can use 2 pi r and find out the radius of the cone, and then we can find out the surface area. So we'll first find out the radius. Circumference is 2 pi r. Circumference is given 88 centimeters. This is equal to 2 times pi is 22 over 7 and radius we need to find. So when you multiply, what you get? 44r is equal over 7 is equal to 88. Make r as the subject. You can multiply this by 88 and divide by 44. So 44 times 2 is 88. 7 times 2, 14 centimeters is the radius of the cone. The question asks find the area of the curved surface. So only the curved surface. So what's the formula we can use? Do we need to take the area of the circle? No, you don't need to take the area of the circle because only the curved surface they want. So what's the formula? Pi r L. So pi is 22 over 7. Radius you found, that's 14. And what's the slant length or slant height? Is 15. So when you multiply this one, you get 2 here. And 2 times 15, 30. 30 times 22 means 22 times 3, 66 and put a 0. So square centimeter. So 660 square meters for the curved surface. Now we'll take example number 3. So here a diagram is given. The radius of the circular plane is 7 centimeters. So r is 7 given. Then the perpendicular height of the cone is 12. So what is that? H is given 12 centimeters. So you are asked to find out the slant height. So what's the formula we can use? We know that according to Pythagoras theorem, slant height is L. L squared is equal to 12 squared plus 7 squared. So 12 squared is 144. 7 squared is 49. So when you add it together, 9 plus 4, 3, 1 remaining, 9 and 1. So here L squared is 193. So what is L? Square root of 193. How can we find out? This is not a perfect square. So we need to use division method to find out the square root. We'll do it here. So take 193. From the right hand side, you pair up the numbers and see whether you can divide. So 1 That's 1 and 1. You get 0. Then when you take the next pair, 93. So 1 multiplied by 2, you get 20 something. So to get 93, which number we have to put? If it's 4, 24 times 4. Check. 4 times 4, 16. 1 remaining. 4 times 2, 8 plus 1, 96. So you have to put 3. So 3 is there. 3 times 23. 3 times 3, 9. 3 times 2, 6. So what's remaining? You get 2. Then to find out the next decimal point, you take another pair. Here 13 times 2, you get 26. So you need to find out 260 something to get 2400. So we'll try with 9 times 2, 18, and here when you take the other remainder, it's more than 2400. So we'll take 8 and 268. So 268 multiplied by 8. 8 times 8, 64. 6 remaining. 8 times 6, 48. 48 plus 6, 54. 5 remaining. 8 times 2, 16 plus 5, you get 21. So 2144. So when you take the remainder, you can divide further, but 13.8 is enough for this calculation. So here we'll take L as 13.8. Now we found out the slant height. So the question asks, the first part to find out the slant height. So what's the unit? This is centimeters. Now what's the second part? Second part is the area of the curved surface. So area of the curved surface is pi RL. So you can use the formula pi RL. Pi is 22 over 7, R is 7, and L is 13.8. So 7 get cancelled out. So we'll multiply 138 by 22 and then put a decimal place. So 138 multiplied by 22. 20 and 2. 2 times 8, 16. 1. 2 times 3, 6 plus 1, 7. 2 times 1, 2. When you add it together, 3036. Then when you put a decimal point, you get 303.6. This is a surface area, units centimeter squared. And then the third one, the total surface area of the cone. So total surface area is the curved surface area plus the area of the circle. So we found out the curved surface area. Now we find the area of the circle. So area of the circle is pi r squared. Pi is 22 over 7. Radius is 7. So when you simplify, you get 154. So what's the total area? So the total area is equal to 154 plus this one, 303.6. So when you add these two together, you get 457.6 square centimeters. Now we'll look at exercise 4.2 in your textbook. So the first question says, find the area of the curved surface of a right circular cone of a base radius 14 and slant height 20. So this is a cone. What's given? base radius 14. So R is given 14 and the slant height. So slant height is this, we used L. So both given. You are asked to find the area of the curved surface. So area of the curved surface. What's the formula? Pi r L. So straight away you can use the formula. So curved surface area only we are taking pi r L. So pi is 22/7, r is 14 and L is 20. So when you simplify 7 times 2, 2 times 22, 44, 44 times 2, 88 and then put a 0. So square centimeters. So 880 square centimeters is the curved surface area. When you take question number 2, it's given of a right circular solid cone, the radius of the base is 7. So try to draw that. Base radius is 7. And the height is 24. This perpendicular height is given, that's h. And you are asked to find out the slant height, L. And the other part is the area of the curved surface. Curved surface is pi r L. So first we'll use Pythagoras theorem. L squared is equal to 24 squared plus 7 squared. And then what is 24 times 24? Multiply and write. 576. 7 times 7, 49. Add these two together. 9 plus 6, 15. 1 remaining. 8 plus 4, 12. 1 remaining. 6. 625. So L is square root of 625. We take the positive value. That's equal to 25 centimeters. So when you take the part 2, they are asked to find out the curved surface area. So what's the formula for curved surface area? Curved surface area is pi r L. Pi is 22/7. Radius is 7. And what's L? L is 25. Now multiply by this. What's the easiest way to do? You can take 2 out. 2 times 25, you get 50. 50 times 11. So 50 times 11, you get 550. So what's the area? 550 square centimeters. Now we'll take question number 3. It says if the slant height of a conical shaped sand pile with a base circumference 44 is 20. So here this is a conical, means a cone shape, and the slant length is given 20 centimeters and what is given, the circumference of the base is 44. So that means this length is given 44. And you are asked to find out the radius of the cone and then area of the curved surface. So area of the curved surface is pi r L. So first thing you need to find out r. To get r, you can use circumference formula. So what is circumference formula? Circumference of a circle, 2 pi r. You can use that one to find out radius. It's given 44. Pi you can take as 22/7. Radius we need to find. Now when you simplify, 44/7 r is 44. So how can you find out r? You multiply by 7 and divide by 44. you get 7 centimeters. So that's the radius of the circular plane. Then the curved surface area is pi r L. Pi r L. Pi is 22/7. What's the radius value we found? That's 7. L is the slant length, that's given 20. So 7, 7 get cancelled out. 2 times 22 is 44 and then put a 0. So what's the area? 440 square centimeters. Now we'll take fourth question. It says find the total surface area of a right circular cone of base radius 10.5 and slant height is 15. So sketch the diagram. Radius is 10.5. So here, what's the easiest way to take? Take the fraction value. 10.5 I can take 21/2. Slant height is 15. So this L is 15. So here you need to find out the total surface area. So what is the formula for total surface area is area of the circular face. So pi r squared plus pi r L. We know R and we know L. Straight away you can substitute to the formula. So here I'll take pi r out and take R plus L. It's easier to use this way, then you can simplify easily. Pi is 22/7, R is 21/2. Then R is again 21/2 plus L is 15. So we'll do the calculation. 7 times 3, 2 times 11. 11 times 3, 33. Here what's the answer? 10.5 plus 15 or 21/2 we can take as 10.5 plus 15 is 25.5 means 25.5. When you convert to a fraction, 2 times 25, 50. 50 plus 1, 51/2. So that means you multiply this by 51 plus 51 by 33 and divide by 2. So we'll do the calculations. 51 multiplied by 33. 30 and 3. 3 times 1, 3. 3 times 5, 15. 3 times 1, 3. 3 times 5, 15. So you can add it together and then divide this by 2. 1683 divide by 2. 2 times 8, 2 times 4 and 2 times 1. So you get 841. You get 1 remaining. So that's half. 841.5 square centimeters is the full area of this cone. Now we'll look at question number 5. In question number 5 it says the slant height of a conical shaped solid object is 14. So when you draw the diagram, slant height means L is given 14. If the area of the curved surface is 396, that means pi r L is given 396. Find the radius of the cone. That means you need to find r and the perpendicular height of the cone. Perpendicular height is h. So how can we use this formula? So here we don't know r, but we know L. So using this we can find out the r value. So we'll do that. 22/7 r, L is given 14 is equal to 396. So 7 times 2. So you get 44R is equal to 396. So what is R? Divide by 44. So you can divide by 4. 4 times 11, 4 times 9, 36. Again 9. So 99 over 11 is 9 centimeters. So the radius of the cone is 9 centimeters. Now we can find out the perpendicular height. Use this diagram. According to Pythagoras theorem, 14 squared, that's the hypotenuse squared, is equal to sum of square terms of the other two sides. H squared plus 9 squared. So 14, you can take h squared as 14 squared minus 9 squared. Here shall we use difference between two square terms? So I can write 14 plus 9 and 14 minus 9. So 14 plus 9 is 9 plus 4, 23. 14 minus 9 means 5. So 23 times 5, 115. So how can we find out h? So you need to find out the square root of 115. So square root of 115, again using division method, you can find out the square root of 115. So how can you find 115? Pair up the numbers starting from the right hand side and then use division method. So 1 times 1, you get 1. Then you take the other pair, 15. 1 times 2, you get 2. So 20 something to get 15. So nothing there. So 0. 15 remaining, and you have to take another pair of zeros, and for 1500 you need to find out how many 200s are there. Multiply by 2, 20. So 200 something to get 1500. So what's the decimal value? When you take 7, you get less than 1500. So this should be 7. So 207 times 7, you get 49, and here 14. So roughly 10.7. So what's the height? Perpendicular height of this cone is 10.7 centimeters. Now we'll look at question number 6. Shown in the picture is a thin glass container in the shape of a cone filled with a juice to half its height. Half its height means if this is 16, what should be this height? Half of it, 8 centimeters. And the radius of the glass is 12 centimeter given. And its height is 16. Find the area of the region of the glass surface that is in contact with the juice. So that means you are asked to find out the surface area of the small cone. So find the area of the region in the glass surface that is in contact with the juice. So here, do we have to find out the area of the circle? No, only the curved surface area. So here we know height is 8 and this length is 6 because it's half. If this total radius is 12, half of it becomes 6 centimeters. It's already given. So you can use Pythagoras theorem to find out the slant length. So I need this length. So here I'll take L as the slant length, slant height. So I can use Pythagoras theorem. L squared is 8 squared plus 6 squared. 8 squared is 64, 6 squared is 36. When you add it together, you get 100. Square root of 100, you get 10 centimeters. So we know the slant length is L. So what's the curved surface area? Curved surface area is equal to pi RL. So pi is 22/7. The radius value is 6 and L is 10. So we can't simplify here, just roughly we'll multiply first. 6 times 22, 6 times 2, 12, 1 remaining, you get 13, and then put a 0 and then divide by 7. So 1320 divide by 7. 7 times 1, 7. 6 remaining for 62. How many 7s? 9 is 7 times 9 is 63. So 8. 8 times 7, 56. 6 remaining for 60. How many 7s? 7 times 8, 56. Then 4 remaining. And you can find out another decimal place. For 40, 7 times 6. 7 times 6, 42. So this should be 5. So roughly 188.5 for the area. So this is square centimeters. Now we'll look at the next solid shape that you need to find out the surface area. That's called sphere. What is a sphere? It's like a ball. So this is a 3D shape. So you can draw like this. So here this is the center and we need to know the radius of the sphere. So in real life, tennis ball or basketball, it looks like a sphere. Now we need to find out the surface area of a sphere, but only the parameter is r. Now how can we find out the surface area? So here one of the mathematician, Archimedes, used an activity and found out how to find out the surface area of a sphere using cylinder. So what he did, he took a sphere and inscribed this in a cylinder. So that means this length touches this one, and here also this one touches. So this is a cylindrical shape. So here, what's the radius of the cylinder? We can see when you include the sphere inside and all sides are touches the cylindrical shape. So that means this radius is also r. Now what happens to the height? Height becomes, this is r, another r. So height of the cylinder becomes 2r. So here when you inscribed the sphere inside a cylinder, you get something like that. So this cylinder is called the circumscribing cylinder. Circumscribing. So Archimedes found that when you include in a circumscribing cylinder, the curved surface area of the cylinder is the same as the surface area of the sphere. So he found surface area of the sphere is same as the curved surface area of the cylinder. So, how can we find out the surface area of a sphere? We can use this curved surface area of the cylinder. So, what's the curved surface area of a cylinder? If you know the radius and the height, we know 2 pi RH. So, here we'll use 2 pi RH. 2 pi R. R is the radius. Now, what happens to H? When you include this one here, H becomes 2R. So, we can plug 2R here. Then when you simplify, what you get? 2 times 2, 4. 4 times R into R, R squared. So, you get 4 pi R squared as the surface area of a sphere. So, remember that when you are getting a sphere, how can we find out the surface area? To 4 pi R squared. So, that's only curved surface area. So, you are not getting any other surfaces. Now, we'll try to apply that formula in examples. In first example, it says find the surface area of the sphere when radius is 7. So, we'll try to draw the diagram. So, this is a sphere, radius is 7 centimeters. So, you are asked to find out the surface area. So, straight away you can apply the formula. Surface area is 4 pi R squared. 4 times pi, we take 22 over 7. Radius is 7. Try to simplify this. You get 4 times 7, 28. 28 times 22. Multiply. And you get 616. What's the unit? Square centimeters for the surface area of this sphere. Take the other example. Find the surface area of the sphere when radius is 5. Now, R is given 5. So, what's the surface area? 4 pi R squared. Plug the value. 4 into pi is 22 over 7. Radius is 5. Now, I can use a short method. Here, 4 times 5, 20. 20 times 5, 100. So, 22 times 100, you get 2200 divided by 7. Now, you can divide. 7 times 3, 21. 1 remaining. 7 times 1, 7. For 30, how many 7s? 4. Then 2 remaining. So, 2 7s. So, what's the surface area? 314, 2 7s centimeters square. Now, look at this example. If the surface area of a sphere is 616, find the radius of the sphere. Other way around, surface area is given and you are asked to find out the radius. So, you can use the formula. We know that A equals 4 pi R squared and 616 given. For A, 4 times pi is 22 over 7 times R squared. Find R squared. Make R squared as a subject. That means you have to multiply by 7 and divide by 4 and 22. Try to simplify. 11 times 2, 11 times 5, 55. Then you get 61 minus 55, you get 6. So, 66 you get 6. Again, you can divide by 4. You can divide by 2. 2 times 1, 2 times 2, 4 and 8, 28. 4 times 7, you get 28. So 7 times 7. So 7 times 7 is 49. You need square root of 49. So what's the square root of 49? You get 7 centimeter as the radius of the sphere. Now what about hemisphere? Have you heard about this word? Hemisphere is the half of a sphere. So here when you take a sphere, okay, you can cut the sphere from here like that, you can cut it. So when you cut this one from the middle of the sphere, you get this part. So that's called the hemisphere. So here if you take radius r here, radius of the sphere is r, you get hemisphere something like this. So I can draw, you get a circular face and then something like this. So here if you want the surface area of the hemisphere, you have to think about the circular face as well, because when you cut it into half, you are getting a circle above. So make sure that if it's a solid one, you have to think about the area of a circle as well. Now, when you cut somewhere here, the circle is smaller than this one. So when you go down and when you come to the middle, this circle is the largest possible circle that you can cut. Largest possible circle you can cut from the sphere. Now we'll try to find out the surface area of the hemisphere. So when you take total surface area of a sphere is, we know 4 pi r squared. Now we cut it into half. So what is the surface area now? Surface area becomes 4 pi r squared divided by 2. Because equally we are dividing into two parts. Plus, now we have to consider the area of the circle. Area of the circle is pi r squared. So here you get 2 and this one get 2 pi r squared. 2 pi r squared plus pi r squared, you get 3 pi r squared. So what is the surface area of a solid hemisphere? You can use the formula 3 pi r squared. Now we'll use that formula to find out the surface area of a hemisphere. So this should be a solid one. So diameter is given 14. So this total distance length is 14 centimeter. So what's the radius then? You have to divide by 2. So 14 divided by 2 is 7 centimeters. So what's the formula? Surface area of a hemisphere, you can use 3 pi r squared. 3 times 22 over 7 times radius is 7 now. Now simplify this. You get 7 times 3, 21. 21 times 22. 20 and 2. So here you get this, and then when you add it, you get 462 square centimeters as the surface area of the solid hemisphere. Now we'll look at example number 1 in your textbook. It says find the surface area of a sphere of radius 7. So here you have given a sphere and radius 7. So you are asked to find the surface area. So straight away you can use 4 pi r squared is the surface area of a sphere. 4 times 22 over 7. Radius is given 7. Now simplify. You get 22 times 4, 88 times 7. So you get 616 square centimeters as the surface area of the sphere. Take example number 2. It says surface area of a sphere is 1388 and you are asked to find out the radius. Take R as the radius. So straight away apply the formula 4 pi r squared. So that's equal to 1386. So simplify this. 4 times 22 over 7 times r squared is 1386. So you get 88 r squared over 7 is 1386. So make r squared as the subject of the formula. 1386 multiplied by 7 and divide by 88. So here you can divide by 11. 11 times 8, 11 times 1, 2 remaining for 28, 11 times 2 and 6 there, so 11 times 6. Then you can divide by 2, 2 times 4, 2 times 63. Okay, so what is 63 times 7? 63 times 7, 441 over 4. So now we can easily find out the radius. So square root of 441 over 4. What's the square root of 441? We know that that's 21. What's the square root of 4? That's 2. So what's the radius here? 21 over 2, or you can write as a decimal, that's 10.5 centimeters. Now look at exercise 4.3 in your textbook. It says find the surface area of a sphere of radius 3.5. So here radius is given 3.5. So we can use the fraction value. What is 3.5? 7 over 2. So instead of 3.5, I can take 7 over 2. So what's the area? 4 pi r squared. So 4 times pi is 22 over 7 times radius. Radius is 7 over 2. Now simplify. 7 get cancelled out. This 2 with this 22, 11. And this 2 with this 4, you get 2. So you get 2 times 7, 14. 14 times 11. So 14 times 11 is 11 times 4, 44. 4 remaining, 11 times 1 is 11. 11 plus 4, you get 15. So here you get 15. So there's an easy method when you are multiplying by 11. How we do? If you want to multiply 14, we separate 1 and 4. And then 1 plus 4 comes in the middle. Then if you want 11 times 11, you separate these two and 1 plus 1, you get 2 as the middle term. If you want now, for example, if you want 38 multiplied by 11, so what you do, you separate this and this, first and the last, and then you add 8 plus 3, 11, but it's more than 10 now. So we'll write 1 there and take 1 to the other side. So 3 plus 1 becomes 4. So remember that method when you are multiplying any number by 11. So here what you get here, 14 times 11, you get 154 square centimeters. And question number 2. Find the surface area of a sphere of radius 14. So here radius is given 14 and you are asked to find out the surface area. So surface area is 4 pi r squared. 4 times pi is 22 over 7. Radius is 14. Now Simplify. 7 times 2. Then 4 times 2, 8. 8 times 14. 8 times 4, 32. 3 remaining. 8 times 1, 8. 8 plus 3, 11. Then you have to multiply it by, so we took 14 times 8. This. So you have to multiply this by 22 again. 20 and 2. So what you are getting? 2464 square centimeters is the surface area. Now we'll look at third question. So third question, it says find the radius of the sphere of surface area is 5544. So here you are asked to find out the radius when the surface area is given 5544. So use the formula. 5544 is equal to 4 pi is 22 over 7 r square. So you need to find out r. So simplify. That means you have to make r squared as the subject of the formula. You are multiplying this by 7 and dividing by the numerator. So what you can do? This is divisible by 2. 11. 2, 11, 5, 11, 4. Again, you can divide this by 2. You get 2 times 2, 4. For 10, 5. So 252. So again, you can divide by 4. 4 times 6, 24. For 12, 4 times 3. So you get 63 times 7. So what is 63 times 7? 7 times 3, 21. 2 remaining. 7 times 6, 42. Plus 2, 44. So you get r squared is 441. So what's the square root of 441? You get plus or minus 21. But you take the positive value because this is a length. So we take 21 centimeters. Now we'll take the fourth one. It says find the external surface area of a hollow hemisphere of radius 7. So hollow means there's nothing inside, not a solid one. So here hemisphere means half of a sphere. So the radius is 7. And you're asked to find the external surface area. So here we know that if you take the full sphere, that's 4 pi r squared. But this is a hemisphere, you have to divide this by 2. So here, what's the area, surface area of the hemisphere? 4 pi r squared divided by 2. You get 2 pi r squared. So 2 pi r squared. Now substitute 2 times 22 over 7. Radius is 7. 7 get cancelled out. 2 times 22 is 44. 44 times 7. So you get 308 square centimeters for the external surface area. We'll take the fifth question. Find the surface area of a solid sphere of diameter 0.5. So diameter means this whole length is 0.5. So we'll take instead of 0.5, half. So whole length is half. Then what's the radius? Radius becomes again divide by 2. Half divided by 2 is 1/4. So 1/4 of a centimeter. Now we'll use the formula. This is a solid sphere. So surface area is 4 pi r squared 4 times pi is 22/7 and radius is 1/4 into 1/4. We can see 4 get cancelled out. Divide by 2. This is 11. This is 2. So you get 11 divided by 2. And another 7 also there. So 11 times 1 is 11. 7 times 2, 14. So the surface area of a solid sphere is 11/40, 14 square centimeters. Now we'll look at sixth question. It says find the radius of a solid hemisphere with a surface area of 1386. So this is a solid hemisphere. That means you have to consider the area of the circle as well. So the surface area 1386. Can you remember we found a formula to find out the total surface area of a solid hemisphere? What's that? 3 pi r squared. So you can use that formula to find out the radius. We found 3 pi r squared is the total surface area, that's equal to 1386. So 3 times 22/7 times r squared is 1386. Then what is r squared? You can find out by multiplying this by 7 and divide by 3 and 22. Now can we divide by 3? We'll see whether we can divide this by 11. 11 times 2, 11 times 1, 28, 11 times 2, 22. 6 remaining for 66, 11 times 6. Then you can divide by 3. 3 times 4, 3 times 2. Then 2 with 42, you get 21. So the answer is 21 times 7. 7 and 4. So you get 147. So square root of 147 we need to find. So r equals square root of 147. So use division method to find out square root of 147. So take the number, pair up from here. So here I can do 147, pair up from here and then divide. So how you get 1? 1 times 1. Then you have to take 47. This multiplied by 2, you get 20 something for 47. When you take 3, 23 times 3, you are getting more than 22 times 2, you get 44. So this becomes 2. So 22 times 2, you get 44. So 3 remaining. For 300, how many numbers are there? So here we need to first multiply this by 2. 12 times 2, 24. So 24 something. So 240 something for 300. So this definitely this should be 1. 1 times 241 is 241. So here roughly the value is 12.1 centimeters. Now we'll take the mixed exercise in your textbook. So the first question says, shown below is a net used to make a pyramid. So here, can you see this base is a square. Find the lengths indicated by A and B. A is this length, B is this length. So how can we find out lengths? So here, these are right angle triangles. So you can use Pythagoras theorem to find out the lengths. According to the Pythagoras theorem, I can see a squared is 5 squared plus 5 squared. Then 5 squared is 25, 5 squared is 25. 25 plus 25, you get 50. So what is A? A is square root of 50. How can we find out square root of 50? So you have to divide using divisional method. So here 50, take the number, pair up the number and see how many numbers are there. So 50, what's the closest number? 7 times 7. 7 times 7, 49. 1 remaining. For 100, you need to find out the number. First multiply by 2. 7 times 2, 14. You have to find out 140 something for 100. So definitely this should be 0. So 0, you get 100. Then another pair of zeros you can take, and 70 times 2, you get 140 something. 1400 something to get 10,000. So when you put 9, it's more than 10,000. If you put 6, it's less than. Put 7 and see, 7 times 4. 7 times 4, 28. 2 remaining. 7 times 1, 7. Plus 2, 9. So 7 works for that. 7 times 1407. You get 49. 7 times 4, 28. 2 remaining. 7 times 1, 7. 7 plus 2, 9. So it works. 9,849. So roughly 7.07. So what's the square root of 50? We can write 7.07. So that's the length of A. How can we find out the length of B? Here we found this length now. Square root of 50. We'll take A as square root of 50 without taking the decimal answer. We know this one is 5. Again, you can use Pythagoras theorem to find out the length B. So, if you use Pythagoras, B squared is equal to 50 root 50 squared. Root and square term get cancelled out and you get 50. 5 squared is 25. So you get 75. Square root of 75 you get as B value. So we need to find out root 75. So either you can use divisional method or we'll use surd method. We'll simplify the surd and find out the square root. 75 can you write as a square number? I can write 75 as 75 as 25 times 3. So when you simplify this one, you get square root of 25 is 5. 5 root 3. So we know basically what's the root 3 value? 1.73. So 5 times 1.73. So what's the answer? 5 times 3, 15. 1 remaining. 5 times 7, 35 plus 1, 36. 3 remaining. 5 times 1, 5. 5 plus 3, 8. So here 2 decimal places, you get 8.65. So here B value is 8.65 centimeters and A value we found that's 7.07. So the second part says give reasons as to why the resulting pyramid is not a right pyramid. So when you connect all these sides, if this length is not same as this, you can't connect with this as a perpendicular one. So the line is not perpendicular, then it becomes slant one. So that's why. So the answer for the second part is A is not equal to B. A we got 7.07, B we got 8.65. So that's why it's not a right pyramid. Now third part, find the total surface area of the pyramid. Now we can't use the previous method because now the triangles are different. So here this area is not same as the other one. So you have to find out separate areas and add it. So what's the total surface area? I can erase this part. And try the total surface area is area of the base, that's 5 times 5 plus this one and this one same. So we'll first find area of one triangle and multiply by 2. Half times base is 5, height is 5 and then multiply by 2. Now what's the area of this triangle? Half, base is 5, height is now root 50. Root 50 we found that's 7.07 and then multiply by 2 because you are getting two triangles. Now try to simplify. These two get cancelled out, these two get cancelled out. So you get area is 5 times 5, 25 plus then 5 times 5 again, 25. Here you are getting 5 times 7.07. So multiply 5 times 7, 35 and 5 times 7, 35. Then when you add these together, this is 50, 50 and this you get 3, 5 here, 5 and 8. 85.35 square centimeters for the total surface area of the pyramid. Now we'll take the second question. So here it's about a cone. A right circular cone was made using a lamina in the shape of the sector shown in the figure. So here can you figure out the cone? When you connect this length with this length, you are getting a cone. So a circular lamina of the same radius is fixed to the base of the cone. Find the radius of the cone. So you are asked to find out when you make the cone, what happens when you take this one and this one together, you get that one. Now cone, and what happens to the slant length? Slant length becomes 21 centimeters. So what about this side? This side becomes the circumference of this sector. So this becomes circumference means 2 pi r. So from that you can find out the radius. Now we'll see how we can find out the circumference there. So circumference of this sector, can you remember? Arc length, we can use L as the length. Angle is 240 over 360 into 2 pi r. R is 21 for this sector. When you simplify this, 7 times 3, 3 times 12, 12 times 2. So what's the answer? 12 times 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 22, 88. So this length, this circumference is 88 centimeters. So that becomes the 2 pi r of that one. So you can use that formula 2 pi r. Now r is the radius of this cone. 2 pi r becomes 88. 2 times pi is 22 over 7 times r is 88. Find r. So the radius becomes 88 multiplied by 7 and divide by 2 times 22. So 2 times 22 is 44. 44 times 2 you get 88. 2 times 7 you get 14 centimeters. So the radius of the cone becomes 14 centimeters. Now we'll look at the second part. Find the total surface area of the cone. Here it says they are fixing a base to this cone. So that means they are asking the total surface area. So total surface area is pi r squared, that's a circle, plus the curved surface area pi rl. So what's pi r squared? Pi is 22 over 7. Radius we found 14. And here 22 over 7. Radius is 14. And what is L? L is 21. So when you simplify, you get the total surface area. So 7 times 2. 7 times 2. Now I see here 22 is common and 2 is common and 7 from this I can take it out. So you get 7 times 2. No? So here 2 remaining. This is 7 times 3. 3 remaining. So 3 plus 2, 5. So here I can do the multiplication easily. 5 times 2, 10. So 22 times 7 multiplied by 10. So what is 22 times 7? 7 times 2, 4. 154 multiplied by 10. I get 1540 square centimeters as the total surface area. Now we'll take question number 3. In the question number 3, it says the ratio between the slant height and the perpendicular height of a cone is 5 to 4. So this is about a cone. Perpendicular height is h, slant length height is L. So ratio between perpendicular height for slant height L to h is given 5 to 4. And the radius of the base of the cone is 6. So this is given 6. Find the slant height of the cone. Now here we can use x term. Now if this is 5x for L, this becomes 4x because the ratio is 5 to 4. So you can use Pythagoras theorem and find out x. So here what's the slant length? 5x, no? So 5x whole thing squared is equal to 4x whole thing squared plus 6 squared. So 5 into 5, 25x squared is equal to 16x squared plus 36. So when you take it to the other side, 25 minus 16, you get 9x squared is equal to 36. X squared is 36 over 9. When you take square root value, you get 36 square root is 6. 9 square root is 3. So you get 2. So here plus or minus you are getting, but we consider only the plus value. So the x value is 2. Then what's the slant length? Slant length becomes 5x. So here we can find out the slant height is 5x. We found x is 2, 5 times 2, that's 10 centimeters. And then the second part they ask, find the surface area of the curved surface of the cone. So only the curved surface. So what is the curved surface area? Curved surface area is pi r L. Now pi is 22 over 7. L is 10. What is R? R is given 6. So substitute here and find out the answer. So 6 times 2, 22. 6 times 2, 12. 1 remaining. 12 plus 1, 13. And there's a 0. 1320 divided by 7. So what's that? 7 times 1, 7. What's remaining? 6 for 62. 7 times 8, 56. 6 remaining. And then for 60, 7 times 8, 56 and 4 remaining. So I can write the answer as 188, 4 over 7 square centimeters, because this is about an area. Now we'll look at the fourth question. Here in this question, a sphere is given, radius 7. And paint was applied from the top downwards, a perpendicular distance of 2 centimeters. So that means only this area. Find the area of the painted region. So there's a hint given, make use of knowledge on the circumscribing cylinder. So here, according to Archimedes' theorem, Archimedes, what's the surface area of the sphere? So he found out surface area of the cylinder is the same as the curved surface area of a cylinder. So here, what's the curved surface area of the cylinder? 2 pi r h. So that should be equal to the surface area of this part. So here, when you take only that part, what's the height? Height becomes 2 and the radius is 7. So we just plug the value 2 times 22 over 7, radius is 7 and h is 2. Now simplify, 7 get cancelled out, 2 times 2, 4 times 22, you get 88 square centimeters is the surface area for this part. Now we'll take this one. So this is the internal radius of a hemispherical clay pot is 7 centimeters. So the smaller one is 7 and the external one is 7.7. Find the total surface area of the pot. So when you take the total surface area, you have to think about the outer surface, inside surface and this part also. This is also clay. So how can we find out all these parts separately? So we'll take this one separately. So this looks like 2 circles. The inner circle is 7 and the outer one is 7.7. So here, how can we find out this area? So we can subtract the smaller area from the bigger circle. So first we'll find out the shaded region. So this shaded part is equal to, when you take bigger circle, pi r square, 7.7 square, minus pi, what's the radius of the smaller one? 7 square. So when you subtract these two, you can see pi 7.7 minus squared minus 7 squared. You can use difference between two square terms. So we'll do that. So pi, I can take 22 over 7. Here 7.7 plus 7 and 7.7 minus 7. So what you get? 22 over 7, 14.7. When you subtract 7, what you get? 0.7. Now we can simplify. 7 and this 0.7, you get 0.1. And what else? So we need to multiply 22 by 147 and put 2 decimal places. So we'll multiply 147 multiplied by 22, 20 and 2. 2 times 7, 14, 1 remaining, 2 times 4, 8 plus 1, 9, 2 times 1, 2. Again, when you multiply by 2, you get 294. When you add it together, you get 3234. We need to put 2 decimal places. So what's the answer for this area? 32.34 square centimeters. Now we'll think about outer surface area. So outer surface area is a hemisphere. When you take sphere, that's 4 pi r squared. This is a hemisphere. You need to divide by 2. So here external surface area we can use as 4 pi r squared divided by 2 is 2 pi r squared. We know pi is 22/7. What's the radius of the external part? 7.7. So 7.7 times 7.7. So try to simplify this. 7 times 11. So here 1.1. Now we'll multiply. So here you get 22 times 2, 44. 44 multiplied by 77 multiplied by 11, and then you can put 2 decimal places. So we'll multiply 44, 11, 77. So here what we can do? So 44 times 11. What's the short method? We'll write like this and then you add it and put it here. 484. Now here 484 you need to multiply by 7. 7 times 4, 28, 2 remaining, 7 times 8, 56 plus 2, 58, 5 remaining, 7 times 4, 28, 28 plus 5, you get 33. Then what we have to do? We have to multiply this again by 11. So here, what's the short method? We take the first and the last digit separately, and then 8 plus 8, we are adding together these numbers. 8 plus 8, 16, 1 remaining, and then 8 plus 3, 11, 11 plus 1, 12, 1 remaining, and then 3 plus 3, 6, 6 plus 1, 7. So you get this number, but there are 2 decimal places we have to keep. So here the answer is 372.68. So that's the external surface area. Now we need to find out the internal surface area. So internal surface area, the radius is 7. So I can find out the internal one. Internal one, 4 pi r squared divided by 2, again 2 pi r squared. R is 7 now. So when you simplify this one, what you get? 7 times 2, 14. 14 times 2, 28. 28 times 11. Again, we know how to multiply by 11. 2 and 8 we separate it. 2 plus 8, 10. We write 0 and 1 remaining. So answer is 308. So here 308, and this is the internal surface area. So we found internal one, outside one, and this area. So what's the total surface area of the pot? We have to add all these values together. So here we'll add it. I'll write the total area is equal to 32.34 plus 372.68 plus 308. When you add it together, you get 8 plus 4, 12, 1 remaining, 6 plus 1, 7, 7 plus 3, 10, 1 remaining, and 8 plus 2, 10. 10 plus 2, 12. Plus 1, 13. 1 remaining. 8 plus 3, 11. And 1 remaining there, 7. So the total surface area of the plot is 713.02 square centimeters. So we covered all the exercises and examples in this chapter. So as a summary, what are the shapes we did here to find out the surface area? Surface area of a pyramid, but we discussed square base pyramids and then cone and sphere and hemisphere. So remember all these formulae to find out the surface area of the solid figures.